Hey guys, Mortgage Guy Mike Davis here,
With
and I'm with,
Francesca Colacato.
yes, and we welcome you back to Perspectives Unleashed Conversations Across Generations. And this is our second installment.
Yes.
So, congratulations for making it to the second round. I'm very excited. And today we have a very interesting topic today. Um, we want to talk about mindset,
Yes.
uh, growth mindset versus a stagnant mindset.
Yes.
Um, I think it's an awesome topic. Great discussion. Um, First off, let's go into the difference. What in your by definition, in your opinion, is a growth mindset versus a stagnant mindset?
Yeah, so it's kind of like in the name, a growth mindset. You're all
Hmm.
constantly trying to, go for bigger, go for being more an ambitious, space and environment. And in comparison to a stagnant mindset, I kind of, when I hear stagnant, I think conformality and just comfort and, content in your situation, which is
Right.
can be a great thing, but also growth mindset is someone I feel like the mindset, the mentality that you're always wanting to do better, to exceed your expectations or even just meet by taking the initiatives and steps to constantly be in progression. So that's
Right.
what I kind of perceive growth mindset in comparison to stagnant mindset.
Right. I agree. I agree. Um, I think in layman's terms, a growth mindset is somebody who constantly wants to go out there and
Hmm.
fail at things. Like I
Yeah.
mentioned in our last episode, um, failure is growth.
Yeah.
So if you can go out there and fail at things, that means you're trying things. That means you're taking risks. That means you're not afraid to grow. I think stagnant is complacent, like
Yeah.
you said. I think it's people that are scared more than anything to
Hmm.
take a chance, to take risks, so they like to be comfortable.
Yeah.
Um, I think the most successful people will tell you that they're never comfortable. Um, is much of that is totally a facade, totally a fake a fake
Yeah.
want and dream. You can't be successful and be comfortable.
Hmm.
Um,
And I think with growth too, adding on to conformality and just like being contentment, like having contentment in situations, like the growth mindset and a person that grows as an individual is through those uncomfortable situations. If you're very and you're content and then comfortable and just complacent, like you said, it's hard to grow as an individual when you're
right,
in that environment of just like, steadiness. And of course we all want to be in a steady environment, but also if you're trying to reach a goal or something, it takes a certain amount of uncomfortableness to grow.
right,
So it's like it's a big emphasis on like how that contrast into the dichotomy between comfort and contentment and growth and progression in that
right,
mindset.
right, right. And we're in a office building that has a
Yeah.
lot of activity going on. So
Yeah.
if you do hear background noise, please excuse us.
Yeah.
They're having a party out here.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, and I mean that kind of segues us to the differences. That you perceive in a growth a person with the growth mindset as opposed to a person with the stagnant mindset.
Mhm.
Um, I think personally, I think the difference is, a growth mindset is always going to be moving. They're movers, man. They're movers and shakers,
Yeah.
so to speak. Somebody that, like I said, always trying new things,
Yeah.
always willing to step outside of the box.
Yeah.
I do kind of label myself as a growth mindset because I've always been very intrigued with doing things that don't give me a ceiling, so to
Yeah.
speak. Entrepreneur, I've always had that entrepreneurial spirit, to where I always want to be able to grow
Hmm.
in what I'm doing without a ceiling.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To me, to be stagnant, to go to work and punch a time clock, and somebody to say you're here from 8 to 5, and then you go home and
Hmm.
you work your way to this position and you work your way to this position. that's miserable to me.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm just not built that way. I never have been. I think one of the differences is, our type of person, we tend to go through a lot more struggles because we are putting ourselves out there more, and sometimes that doesn't always work. You throw things on the wall until something sticks,
Yeah.
and that's how I've pretty much lived my life.
Yeah,
You
and
know,
even with the entrepreneurial mindset, it's also an athlete mindset too.
right,
Especially us, we competed at like some of the highest levels. Like for me in club volleyball, I competed on some big stages and also playing on teams that demanded me to have be committed and also continuously growing within the sport as an athlete. And I feel like also too, sports play such a big emphasis on developing a growth mindset, and I
mm,
think adversity is such a big thing that helps kind of catalyze a growth mindset.
right,
And how you take upon situations of difficulty of
right, right,
stuff, it's seeing bigger picture, bigger perspective on challenges, and instead of
right,
letting you take it down and be comfort, be like, okay, like if this is a difficult situation, how am I going to overcome this adversity to
right,
grow as an individual? And I feel like that's really separates the two. But the stagnant, they're like, they see this difficulty and kind of just be like, okay, like it is what it is, I'm just going to take into it. But
right,
as an athlete too, I faced on a team where athletes were injured. We could have just been content and be like, okay, we can forfeit the game. But no, like bringing in players, helping them out, and
right,
coming as a cohesiveness to defeat adversity, grow not just me as an individual, but the whole team itself to get to that one goal. And I
right.
really think that's that big contrast in between the two mindsets, which is really fascinating to see
Yeah,
how adversity plays such a big and vital role into a
yeah.
growth mindset.
Right, right, right. I know with on that same line,
Mm-hmm.
um, with my daughter in particular, um, she's a very good basketball player.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, uh, but as she is a younger human being, 13 years old, just turned 13. Um, she sometimes gets scared to take those chances in her athletics. For example, she's sometimes scared to do different things on the court, for the fear of failing, the fear of messing up,
Yeah.
possibly getting in trouble for messing up, not being able to play, or being talked about by the teammates, or being laughed at, or the crowd getting upset. Any one of those things, the consequences seem to hold her back from excelling.
Yeah.
And that goes to exactly the point that you were just saying, is that fear is the biggest motivator for the stagnant mind. You know that they're just scared to take that leap. Failure, there has to be failure in order to be growth.
Mm-hmm.
Over time, everybody that has succeeded in something has failed many times over
Yeah.
before they succeeded in what they're doing. I can tell you story after story. Steve Jobs, he did many things before he was successful in the iPhone. He had many failures before this came to fruition. Uh, Failure is growth. Without failure, you don't learn, you won't grow. If you do keep failing and you don't learn, I mean, that's not successful. But I mean, that's what aids the growth.
Yeah.
Now, with that being said, in your opinion, um, what are some tips
Yeah.
that you can tips and behaviors that you would say? I would say, what do you practice?
Mhm.
Tips and behaviors to kind of aid in that growth mindset.
Yeah, for sure. Especially being a young adolescent in today's society and the pressures of social media and also just like external pressures of whatever it could be,
Mhm.
and just always keeping focus in what I do. Focus, passion is really a great driver too, and ambition for sure.
Mhm.
Always three principles that are very close to my heart are ambition, assertion, and action.
Okay.
So if you have ambition and it's there, but sometimes you have a goal you want to attain, but that goal can't be attained unless you take action upon it and being
Right.
assertive in your ambition. Because if
Right.
you're not assertive in your ambition, how can you have that self confidence to drive and take that action?
Right.
And like you just reiterating that, sometimes scared, intimidation of failure is such a big hindrance to pursuing the action aspect.
Right.
And especially me being young, I want to get into the business industry. I have a great passion to helping others through business and philanthropy or
Hmm.
and those main things. And I knew like my age, I was like I had to kind of work a little harder to gain the quality and to qualify myself as someone knowledgeable. And I knew I had to take these certain steps in order to get where I am today. And I knew a big part as well was to be put myself in these uncomfortable situations. Specific behaviors I did were like going out and talking to strangers, well, good strangers as well, and just introducing myself in environments that
Right.
maybe I
Right.
could
Right.
have been
Right.
intimidated, like
Right.
with business professionals for sure. And if I'm like, I feel like sometimes like when I was in that aspect, like feeling kind of underqualified, but also
Yeah.
being assertive, like I'm here, I'm eager to learn, and I'm open to learn, and I'm just very passionate, and I just want to continuously learn to build a foundation that can
Right.
help me in the future.
Putting
And
yourself out there.
putting yourself
Yeah.
out there, it's kind of
Yeah.
intimidating. Like I'm kind of I when I was little, I was a very introverted kid. I was the type of
Hmm.
kid who
Hmm.
hid behind my mom's leg and literally had to
Right.
go home from school one time because I was crying over Clifford the dog, and that just goes to show I was a very shy kid.
Right.
But throughout my
Right.
time putting myself out there, that was uncomfortable for me. Everyone has
Yes.
their own uncomfortable situations, but putting myself out there was one of them.
Right.
And the more and more I did it, the more I learned about myself individually, and the more it helped me explore my growth as an individual that helped me attain success. So
Right.
those are the three main things that I always live by. Like you have the ambition, but it's the action aspect that really drives and catalyzes to that progression of the growth mindset as well.
Right. Right. What do you think would be a difference in your lifestyle if you knew that you couldn't fail? How would you live differently if you knew that you couldn't fail?
Wow,
I know
that's a good one.
yeah.
Well, like for me, I've learned so much from growth through failure.
Uh huh.
So I think like knowing that I couldn't fail, I'd definitely probably just be like content. I feel like personally, I would still be eager to grow and learn,
Hmm.
but I don't think I'd get that level of learning and knowledge,
Yeah.
if that makes sense. Because when I
Yeah.
fail exams or shank a ball, like when I play
Hmm.
volleyball, like for me that
Hmm.
was like that's still kind of a failure or a mistake or something. But like if I never did, how could I progress
Right.
even more?
Right.
Like I feel like there would be some extent of progression, but fully progression would be difficult. I feel
Right.
like, in that kind of
Yeah,
mindset. That
I
makes
mean,
sense.
absolutely. I mean, I guess I asked that because it was posed to me, and it's one of those things that you kind of have to think on.
Yeah.
And if I could go through the day and I knew that whatever I did I couldn't fail, would I try more things? Would I would I take more chances? You know, would
Oh
I
yeah, that's a
jump
good
off of
one.
more cliffs? Um, I I guess that would be one thing that I would say is a good tip or behavior.
Yeah, kind of that
Okay,
mindset.
is to live every day as if you can't fail. Okay, let me do this as if I'm gonna succeed in it, because at the end of it all, because you did it, whether you succeed or fail,
You
it
still
was
learn.
success.
Yeah.
You know, because even if I didn't get the success in that action that I wanted,
Yeah.
I got success in learning how to get the success in it. You get what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
follow
That's
me?
a good perspective
So
on that. Good hot
so
take on that.
I think, one of the tips that I try to use is just attack everything. Attack everything regardless of what anyone has to say about it.
Hmm.
Which brings me to, um, when you have those people out here
Yeah.
that are growth mindset, they do face opposition,
Yeah.
you know, from stagnant mindset people.
Hmm.
Has there been any instances in your life
Hmm.
that you can remember
Yeah.
where this has come up?
Yes, for sure. So I'm entering senior year.
Okay.
So I've been taking upon college visits, kind of learning and kind of figuring out my pathway that I'm going to intern in.
Right, right.
college.
Exciting. So
Yes.
exciting.
And
Yes.
for me, it's a big chapter, like a new chapter that I'm going to
Yeah,
be
it
embarking
is.
on. So I went on a few college visits and such, and I've encountered, situations because as of now, I'm doing a lot of work that a lot of people may have will pursue post graduate, like
Got you.
graduate.
Got you.
And so I'm a big dreamer, for me,
Right.
like we've talked about it, there's no ceiling. I feel like
Right.
there's no ceiling.
Right.
And I always have the mentality you can only go up from here,
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
only upwards, like downwards, especially with the growth mindset. That's kind of how I foresee, like
Right.
there's only a positive J curve that we're approaching.
Yeah.
And yes, of course, we're gonna have setbacks, challenges, adversity. So I've faced and encountered a lot of stagnant mindset people. So, I've indulged myself going back to self-care,
Right.
trying to maintain my environment to people that have the same mentality, because that's where I
Okay.
feel like I flourish in.
Right.
But recently I've encountered, it's been a while, but a stagnant mindset person.
Okay.
And I know we both have different situations, responsibilities, but I was expressing, my interest in pursuing a specific college degree, such as
Right.
economics and political science.
Okay.
And their take on it was like, what are you going to do with that degree? Like, and I was like trying to, it was a, tough situation where I try to be like confident, but that was my first time in a while. I was kind of shook upon it. I was like, oh wow,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
haven't
So they were
encountered this
like,
in a while.
Why are you doing that? What are you gonna do with that?"
Yes, yes,
Basically,
and
yeah,
it's
yeah.
I everyone's has is entitled to their own opinion. So I took
Hmm.
upon it as like, oh, I plan to do this, just kind of sharing a snippet of my intentions in the future,
Right.
especially with all the organizations, activities I do as of right
Right.
now,
Right.
and foreseeing its future, kind of expressing what I want to go with it. And she was like, well, a lot of you has done is kind of luck, and I was kind of very taken aback by it because it can go be one dimensional, two dimensional, but she doesn't really know me. She
Yeah.
can only see me in this one kind of space.
Right.
So it was just kind of also wow too, because I worked really hard. I feel like to get where I am today, and to be claimed that it was just luck, and to be confined and be like, why are you going to shoot for that? You can just go into computer science and just work
Right.
in content, go into there and just
Right.
be fine with it. And I was like, it was just a difficult situation, but I've encountered that many times where they're like, how are you going to do it? Like,
Yeah.
are you sure it's going to even work out? Like, you could have just took this route. It would have been more simplistic instead of
Yeah.
doing what you're trying to do
Be
as of right
easier.
now. And for me, like, to try to understanding their perspective and seeing it, like maybe that's what they want to do. That's the environment they want to be in, which is completely okay. It's just to see the contrast between it is very interesting. And to have that feedback, kind of, it was just pretty interesting to see for sure, but also like, wow, okay, just a
Right.
whole the other take on that, and the different contrast and the dichotomy between those two mindsets is so drastic too.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting to see that
Yeah.
as well.
Well, I know we're always. I think I mentioned this last episode. We do what we do for the supporters, not for the haters.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be very hard for certain people to see your vision. Okay, it's not easy for people because I mean, there's an old saying, you can't see the forest for the trees. Um, some people really live in that. They can't. They only see things for what's in front of them. They only see getting through each day the way they need to get through that day and letting it be over. Um, we may tend to see things as, hey, every day that I get up, that's a day that I have an opportunity to further,
My.
my goals and my visions. And oh man, I'm waking up today. This is 24 hours that I'm going to get here.
Yeah.
This is not, hey, I'm waking up today. I'm going to be here. So let me hurry up and get it over with,
Yeah.
and start tomorrow.
Yeah.
I was having this conversation with my wife the other day, and it's you have people in this world now. There's absolutely nothing wrong
Yeah.
with someone who wants to go and work as a cashier at a convenience store for 30 years, if they so choose. If that's what you want to do, that's fine.
Yeah.
We need people to do that,
Mhm.
but not everybody wants to go and open up the chain of convenience stores.
Yeah.
Okay, but we need those people as well. Those are the outliers that we need to be here to help everybody else continue to go, to continue to grow. And that's what I call a growth minded person. You know, to quote Malcolm Gladwell, is an outlier. You know, is somebody that sees the world in a different light, that wants the world to progress, that wants things to progress, that's
Mm-hmm.
going to aid things in progressing. Um, I try to teach my kids to be that person that views each day as an opportunity.
To grow, yeah.
Yeah. Don't look at every day is I just need to get through this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, to get to tomorrow.
Yeah.
Let me hurry up and get to the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I hate to say that and I hate to hear that because you're just wishing your life away. Use every day as an opportunity because that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
God has given you that day. He is not a lot of people that got that. There's
Yeah.
a lot of people that didn't wake up today to have that day. But
Mm-hmm.
we have this day. And so now that we
Yeah.
have this day, what do we do with it?
Mm-hmm.
How do we get better? You
Yeah.
know?
And I always like that's such a great take because a quote I live on, like also along with those three principles, is always to make the most of each moment
Yes.
and
Absolutely.
value your
Absolutely.
time because like we said in the last podcast, like energy sometimes needs to be well spent.
Mm-hmm.
So especially with volleyball too, stepping on the court for the last time, I was like, I'm gonna make this the best moment it can ever be.
Right.
Because
Right.
I also take it too, and especially when I was leaving that sport, like I didn't know even that tournament prior to nationals. What if
Yeah.
that was my last tournament if I got injured?
Right.
So always taking the opportunity to make it the most of each moment that you
Right.
have. Because like you said, you may not wake up the next day. We never know what's for tomorrow.
Right.
So using the most out of your 24 hours that we have to grow as an individual, to help more people in society, to
Right.
make it a better place is kind of where I'm at. And to always to make the help in other shape in somewhat shape or form through my work, through my storytelling, through anything to help
Right.
make the world a better place.
Right.
That's peace is. I hope everyone we want world peace at the end of the day.
Right. So I guess to in closing,
Mm-hmm.
um, what would be your advice to the audience out there? Um, you know, just along this topic,
Yeah.
growth mindsets versus stagnant
Mm-hmm.
mindsets. What would be your advice to the people?
Yes, for individuals that may be seeking to pursue growth mindset, may
Mm-hmm.
have a stagnant mindset as now, is always go back to know who you are and being confident in within yourself and seeing the opportunities in front of you and how can you uptake them to become a better individual each day.
Right.
And utilizing your opportunity at the fullest potential, trying to shift that mindset perspective of like taking what's in front of you and using the most of it to better yourselves and those around you
Right.
and just using it opportunity to continually progress to get to your end goal that you're trying to achieve. So that's a big thing that I'm big about.
Well, that's good, man. And I guess I would say, like Nike, just do it. Just do it. Live in the now.
Mm-hmm.
No opportunity wasted.
Yeah.
Um, attack everything as if you can't fail. Um, attack every day as if it was your last. I know these are a lot of little cliche little sayings that people say, but they're true to life.
Yeah.
Go out there every day and live it to the most of your potential. Don't worry about what somebody else, the limitations that other people put on you,
Mm-hmm.
because people, they, like you said in the beginning, they don't know you, they don't know your journey. They may say, "Hey, this is an easier path for me," but how do they not? How do they know that you didn't train for the difficulty?
Yeah.
You know, you can say, "Hey, that easy road, I trained for the hard road,
Yeah.
so I'm ready for the hard road. I've
Mm-hmm.
been through the gauntlet, so I'm ready to go for it."
Yeah.
So people out there, live to your fullest potential.
And always be eager to learn. Always
Always be eager
eager
to
to
learn.
learn.
Always be eager to
And
learn.
also use uncomfortable situations to grow. That's a
Yes.
big thing.
Yes.
In order to
Yes.
grow, you sometimes gotta put yourself out there in
Yeah.
uncomfortable situations. Like prime example for me, like I was a little daunted to start posting about my work and the things I've been doing. I
Yeah.
told myself like, imagine the lives I'm able to help if I just did and didn't let
Yeah.
my intimidation, of whatever I thought was, be
Well, why is it
perceived.
scary? Why is it
Exactly. Yeah.
scary for you to do that?
So I don't know. It's just that's why I was like, okay, why I'm gonna start, why am I gonna think this way? So I just started
Yeah,
posting, and the amount of lives I've been able to touch is
right,
insane. So I just started posting on TikTok, on Instagram, and I've had people reach out to me, and I've helped start nonprofits. I've helped kids, consulting and elevating their
yes,
resumes, and I'm like, man, I can't believe I
yes,
let that hindered me for as long as it did.
right,
So you really just got to take that, like the assertion and the confidence. That was the aspect that I was missing, and then I took the action part of it,
right.
and the amount of lives I was able to help. I was like, wow, I wish I've done it,
A long time
a
ago.
little time ago. But at the
Yeah,
same time, I'm kind of happy I didn't. But it's all
it's all
timing,
timing.
all
It's all
timing.
timing, and it's all God's timing.
Yeah,
And so, hey, I thank you again for a
yeah,
another awesome conversation. Um, as you can see, people out there, even though we're three decades apart, we still share some of the exact same values and the exact same opinions on this particular topic right here. And I'm glad you brought this topic. I think it's a very needed
yeah,
discussion, and I hope it finds someone to help out there because somebody needed to hear this.
yeah.
So we thank you guys again for tuning in to another episode of
Mhm.
Perspectives Unleashed. And we urge you to come back, keep coming back.
Yeah,
We're gonna try to keep bringing very up to date, hip perspectives on very interesting topics, and we hope we can be some help out there.
yeah,
You know, at the end of the day, we want to do this because we want to help people, and we think that we're able to do so.
yeah.
Right. So Morgan's got Mike Davis, and
Francesca Colacado signing out. We'll
we
see
are
you on next
signing out. We'll
episode.
see you next episode. Thank you.